My sound isn't on. Hopefully you can hear me now. All right, I'm going to start over because I've been talking for a while. I'm reading from an Instagram post by Emily Freeman. Just make sure you can hear me. Can you hear me, Amy and Jamie and Jeannie? Do you guys hear me? You can even just let me. Okay.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't have my microphone not turned on, but now I do. And for some reason, it's not letting me there pin my video. Okay. So I'm reading the caption from an Instagram post written by Emily Bell Freeman, and she has some pictures of the Salt Lake Temple being restored, and piles of rubble and concrete and rebar. But this is what she says. She said, "Do you think when God planned for the undoing of this temple, he already knew about the undoing of this world? The foundations that needed strengthening, the cumbersome parts that needed to be removed. Do you think he saw the holy places that just needed to be fortified in a different way? I remember when I heard about the restoration that was coming, how surprised I was that it was going to last so long. Why does it have to last so long? And yet I knew the wisdom in it, how sometimes it is only in the rebuilding that lasting strength is found. As I stood in front of that holy place, I couldn't help but consider that God knows exactly what he's doing with this undoing. There is a purpose in this place. And as I walked away from that great work taking place there, I turned back for one glance and saw the flowers someone had planted along the borders of the undoing of it all. Someone had thought to leave a mark of beauty there. Bright petals surrounding the dust and debris, and I couldn't help but wonder what this undoing might be like if each of us thought to plant some beauty here in this space while we allow God to do his work of strengthening and fortifying and removing what is holding us back. Because sometimes the work of consecrated holiness is messy, but beauty doesn't have to wait for the final restoration. Beauty can be found along every step of the way. And that just struck me because I've really been feeling this sense of unraveling and undoing because so much is shifting and uncertain. But there certainly has been a lot of beauty in the downtime and the letting go of the extraneous things. So that's my invitation to you as we practice today is letting your expectations unravel and allowing the new thing to be built. So go ahead and just close your eyes and just check in with your body. Just how are you feeling this morning? How does your breath feel? How does your energy level feel? How do your feet and legs and hips and spine, shoulders, neck, and head feel? And just start to tune into your breath. And just noticing it, and we'll make our way onto our backs. So if you're sitting on anything, you can move it out of the way and come down and just lay on your back, either just legs long in like a total shavasana, or knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and get out any wiggles that you need to. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, and just let yourself breathe there. Feel the support of the floor underneath your rib cage. Just take one more deep, long breath. And then if they're not already, bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. Just let your hands go to your sides and just feel the back of your pelvis on the floor. Just kind of rock from side to side. And you can think of kind of steering your pelvis in a figure 8 as you rock. It might even be easiest to lead it from your knees. Just thinking about kind of pulling your right knee back, pushing your left knee forward, and then switching that as you rock your pelvis from side to side. Doesn't have to look any particular way, just little tiny rocks and movement in the back of your pelvis. And then see if with your brain you can switch directions of those rocking, as you kind of find really subtle, almost pedaling motions with your knees. And then just let that come to stillness. Just turn your head from side to side. Just drop your right ear toward the floor, come back to center, drop your left ear toward the floor. And just feel the back of your head. Just kind of give it a massage. And just notice how far your neck wants to turn with the support of the floor underneath it. Go back and forth one more time. And then come to center. Bend your elbows like robot arms. So you're just elbows at 90 degrees, just alongside your rib cage. Palms could face each other. And then really push into your triceps into the floor. Push into the back of your head and draw your shoulder blades together. You might even kind of draw your upper back off the floor. Hold that, really engage your shoulder blades toward each other. Push your elbows into the floor. And then lower down, let your shoulder blades spread and let go of the effort in your upper back. And do that a couple more times, really pushing into your triceps, drawing your shoulder blades together, kind of lifting your rib cage tiny bit up off the floor, just with that engagement of your muscles. And then completely relax everything down. Let's do that one more time. Just push into the backs of your arms, draw your shoulder blades together. And then release that effort. And again, just turn your head from side to side and notice if your range of motion is any different with your neck. Just notice if you can just naturally, easily turn it a little bit further. Once your neck is even, you've rocked both sides. Come back to center. Let your hands go by your sides. Push into your feet. Lift your hips. Let your knees go wide and then bring them down. Bring your knees together and lift your hips. We're just going to do these hip circle bridges a few times. You can let your toes float. Just kind of use your heels as a pivot point. And then we'll switch. Bring your knees together. Actually, let your knees go wide and lift, and then bring your knees together to lower. Go wide and lift, knees together and lower. Just a couple more times there. And pause, hug your knees into your chest. You're going to rock from side to side. Bring yourself into a little ball, tuck your chin, hug your knees towards your nose. And then let yourself go long. See if you can just hover your head and your heels up off the floor. Really push your lower back down. And then release to the floor. Arms are above your head. And just roll over onto your belly. It doesn't matter if you roll to the right or the left. And we'll come into a sphinx. Elbows underneath your shoulders. Just let your legs be long. And tuck your chin, just let your head hang, stretch the back of your neck. You can even rock one ear to the shoulder and the other ear toward the shoulder. Just rock from side to side. And then really curl, push. Feel like you're pushing your hands away from you. As you round your upper spine and then let your belly come down, look forward. Just these little cat and cow movements here. Let's do 2 or 3 and really feel the whole length of your movement. Just bringing your awareness into your body. Starting to wake things up. Then we'll find a stretch on the floor. So you'll bring your right arm to a 90-degree angle on the floor. Look to the left. You can tent your left fingers by your chest. Open your right fingers pretty wide and push them into the floor as you roll to your right, any amount. You can drop that right shoulder toward the floor. You maybe bring those left toes behind you. Maybe they just stay where they are. Just do what is friendly in that right shoulder, what feels supported but spacious. And then we'll go the other way. So that 90-degree angle with your left shoulder, tent your fingers and just roll to your left. Maybe you touch those right toes behind you. Maybe just kind of keep that right foot on the floor. Just kind of listen. And it might take a breath or two, and maybe you can go. So you want some sensation there, but you don't want any pinching. You don't want your breath compromised. Roll back to your belly. Just bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Come to table. Take maybe 1 or 2 rounds of cat and cow, and then we'll push back into a child's pose, just briefly. And from your child's pose, we'll inhale up to a standing kneel and just sweep your arms high. Exhale here and find that cactus shape with both your arms. We did this on the floor, one at a time. Draw your shoulder blades together, open your heart. Inhale and reach high. And then exhale, just fold back into your child's pose. You can bring your hands by your heels. Maybe forehead comes toward the floor. We're just going to flow here. Inhale back to your standing kneel, reach high. Exhale, find those cactus arms. Draw your shoulder blades toward each other. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale and fold. Just move with your own breath here. And let yourself hear your breathing. Let's do one more inhale up. Exhale into your cactus shape. Inhale, reach high. And then just exhale, hands down by your hips and step your right foot forward. Find a pretty sturdy lunge here and lift your left arm up and just find a side bend here. You can just reach this right hand toward the floor. It doesn't need to touch the floor. And then come upright. I'm going to toe heel that right foot in line with your left knee. So see that your left knee, shin, heel, toes are all in a line. And then heel toe your right foot in line. And just notice what helps your balance. Do you want to have kind of a wider by reaching your arms out further? Does that help you balance, or just bringing everything towards center? Notice all the little muscles that turn on here. Just take one more breath and see if you can be pretty spacious and relaxed with your breath, even with this compromise of your balance. And we're going to pivot on the left knee to the left. So your left knee will come perpendicular with your mat. Right heel is in line with that left knee. Bring your right hand just inside that right knee. Reach your left arm out and just find some pulses here into this right ankle and knee and hip. You might reach all the way toward the floor, but I'm more interested in just kind of this dynamic stretching through all those joints in your legs, ankle, knee, hip. And then come all the way upright. Lengthen your right leg, and then bring your left fingertips to the floor. Reach your right arm alongside your ear. Get a nice big side stretch here. This modified side plank with that left knee down. One more big breath. And then just exhale your right hand to the floor. Come into a table. You're just facing the back of your mat. Bring your forearms to the floor. Tuck your toes, and we'll come into dolphin pose. It's like downward facing dog, but with your forearms on the floor. And let your knees be pretty soft. Even kind of find some bouncing here, rocking forward and back, some fluidity. You could even play with exchanging weight from right side to left side. Just exploring your shoulders. And then we'll come down to our Sphinx pose again. Just do the same thing we just did. We'll just do our lunges with the other leg. So find some cat and cow movement here in your Sphinx. So as you inhale to reach your heart forward, feel like you're dragging your elbows back. And as you exhale and round, just feel like you're pushing your hands away. And come to a neutral place. And we'll find that pec stretch on the other side. So, well, just both sides. Right hand first. Bring your right cactus shape arm to the floor and just gently push yourself over to the right. Breathe there. And find some space in that right shoulder, the front of your right chest, and then switch. Left arm, look to your right. Right toes behind you, maybe. Let your breath be smooth. So don't let any intensity and sensation compromise your breath. And then come back to center. Hands underneath your shoulders. Push yourself back into a child's pose. And maybe pause in your child's pose. Your hips are warm. Breathe into your lower back. Maybe rock a little. Deep flexion in your hips and your knees. You can feel your belly expand against your thighs as you breathe. And your next breath in, just inhale yourself up to that standing kneel and reach high. Exhale, arms to your cactus, big open heart. Draw those shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale, fold back into your child's pose. Reach your hips back. Inhale, reach high. Exhale to your little camel pose. Inhale, reach high. And exhale, hands by your heels. Inhale to reach high. Exhale, open your heart. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale. Release your hands by your sides and stay upright. Step your left foot forward into that low lunge and just reach your right arm up and over. Find your nice side bend here. And then come upright. Find your tandem kneel on this side. So make sure that your right foot is not sickling anyway. It's not angled in, and then toe heel that left foot in front of your right. And just find your balance and relax your breath. And notice your eyes here. It's helpful to look at one place, but don't grip what you're looking at with your eyes. Like we talked about on Friday, that just softening your grip instead of really clasping and holding tight. See if you can find that sense with your drishti, that balance point with your eyes. And then we'll pivot on the right knee and do that lunge on the other side. I'm just gonna face you. So left hand inside that left knee, open your right arm out. And you can find some pulses here. Just really getting into the flexion of that ankle, your knee, and your hip. And then release down, lengthen through that left leg. Bring your right hand to the floor. Reach your left arm up and over. Long through that left side. And then hands down. Find your table. Bring your forearms to the floor. Tuck your toes and come back up into your dolphin pose. You can find some buoyancy in your legs. You can rock with your hips. It might even be fun to kind of feel like you're drawing some circles with your chin. Use your hands and your shoulders to steer yourself in circles through your shoulders. And then bring your knees to the floor. Come all the way back down into that Sphinx pose again. And then from here, reach your right hand toward the top right corner of your mat, left fingers by your rib cage, and just inhale up into a little cobra and look over your left shoulder, and then lower. And we'll just go from side to side here. So find those cobra twists. Let's go back and forth one more time. And then back to center. Push yourself up through child's pose. You can really round through your spine to come all the way back. And then inhale up to your standing kneel. And from here, we're just gonna find some big circles with your arms. So reach your right arm back and then up. It's like a big backstroke, left arm back and then up. And just go back and forth, reaching right arm back and left arm back. And you might even reach for a heel. Just kind of notice where on your legs your arms want to swim to. Feel strong through your center, and just notice that your body can just naturally support you. And then reach both arms high. Find your cactus. Inhale, reach high. Release your hands, step your right foot forward into a lunge, and just right away you can kind of lunge down deeper into it. Feel like you're hugging your right knee back and your left knee forward. Lengthen a little more through the front of that left hip flexor. Reach your left arm up Find a side bend. Come back to center, and then just straighten through that right leg and fold forward any amount. If you need to pad your left knee here, feel free. We're just gonna bend and straighten that knee. Just bend and straighten. Come back to your lunge. And then we'll pivot on that left knee again. We're not gonna do our balance this time, but find your inner thigh stretch here. So right heel is in line with that left knee. Pulse into this bending in your knee and your hip. Let's just do one more there. And then lengthen through that right leg. Bring your left fingertips to the floor. Find your big side bend. And then see if you can really ground through this left hand. Maybe you need a block under it, that's fine. Reach your right arm up and then float your right leg up off the floor. You can pause here, or you could play with bending that right knee and reaching back, maybe grabbing your foot, opening, pushing your foot into your hand, engaging through that hamstring and your glute. And then release, reach everything out, come back down to your table on this side. Dolphin. You can find your little circles here. You could even maybe experiment with making a figure 8 shape with the way you move through your shoulders, just kind of warming and flossing through all of that tissue there. And then see if you can make your way to a forearm plank, just kind of wiggle your feet out. And we'll come down onto our bellies. Left hand to that top left corner of your mat. Right fingertips alongside your rib cage. And inhale, come up, look over that right shoulder. And exhale to lower. Just switch sides back and forth. And your arms don't even need to come straight. You can just look. Really be friendly to your lower back. And feel more like you're lengthening out of it rather than crunching into it. We'll do right arm forward. Last. And then go ahead and come down. Just take a really brief visit to our shoulder stretch. Just right arm to that 90-degree angle. Rock. Come back to center. Let's do the left one. Come back to center. Hands underneath your chest. Push up through table and then back into your child's pose. And right away, just breathe up. Reach high. And we'll find those swims here. Just a big backstroke. You can even twist with it. So you can twist to your left as you reach back with that left arm, twist to your right. And just notice with this fluid motion of your arms, right? You're kind of exploring your balance and your core just reflexively supports you. So just kind of notice that. Notice where your hands want to brush on your legs. And then let yourself feel even on each side. We'll reach high and find a nice big camel. Reach high and then release your hands. Step your left foot forward into that lunge. And then let yourself lean into it a little more. Hugging your legs toward each other. Reach your right arm up. Find your side bend. And then we'll bend and straighten. So I'm just keeping my hands at my hips. If you want hands on the floor or hands on blocks, that's totally fine. But just, this doesn't need to be super deep. Just warming actively and lengthening actively through the back of that left leg. Next time you come to your lunge, we'll just pivot on that right knee, left hand inside that left knee, and just find your pulsing here. Just a few times. And then come upright, release your arms, lengthen through that left leg, right hand to the floor, reach your left arm up, and then alongside your ear, nice big side bend. See if you can ground that right hand, maybe a block, fingertips are fine. Reach your left arm up, and then float your left leg up, and be really active through that leg. You can stay there, maybe bend your knee and just engage through your glute to reach back. Maybe reach with your hand and just find an opening there. And then lengthen. Arm and leg, hands to the floor. Find your table. And then make your way to your dolphin again. So kind of make a triangle with your thumb and your forefingers. And then feel like you're pulling the mat from your fingertips back towards your elbows, and just feel that engagement through your shoulders. Tuck your toes and have some softness in your knees. And this time we'll reach our chin toward our fingers and then push back. Any amount. And if you need to do this with your knees down, feel free to do that. Just feel that support through your shoulders and some freedom through your shoulders. Push back into your dolphin, and then just lean halfway forward, shimmy your toes back, and then come down into your Sphinx pose. Forearms on the floor, belly to the floor. Slide your hands back alongside your chest and come onto your fingertips wide. And then really feel like you're drawing your elbows in toward each other, shoulder blades toward each other. And inhale, just curl your heart up. And then exhale, let yourself kind of lower down. Let's just do 3 here. Inhale and exhale. You can feel kind of a wave in your spine. Inhale and exhale. Hands alongside your chest, plant them there, and then push yourself back to your child's pose. And breathe, and then inhale all the way up to standing. And then we'll just find that swimming camel again, reaching your right arm back and around, reaching your left arm back and around. And you can do this at your own pace. It might feel good to reach for your heel and pause in between sides. But that's totally up to you. Or just stay more upright and just feel that movement in your spine as you twist and move through your shoulders. Even yourself out on both sides. Just come to your standing kneel, step your right foot forward, lean into your lunge and reach high. All right, we're just building on from a really simple foundation, adding just a little more each time we come through it. Exhale your left hand to the floor and reach your right arm up. Find a nice twist here. You can tuck those left toes. And then thread your right fingers past your left ribs. And then inhale up. Just do that 2 more times. Just a nice, big dynamic twist. And then exhale, right hand to the floor inside that right foot. Tuck your left toes and lift your knee. We're going to move into side angle pose. So you can keep your right hand on the floor inside that right foot, or you can bring your right forearm to your right thigh. We'll pivot and ground on that left heel and find side angle pose. Let your left arm come alongside your ear. And just enjoy the length here. And then bring your left hand to your hip. Look at the floor, just about 8 inches in front of that right pinky toe. So kitty corner to your right pinky toe. Bring your fingers down. And then slide that left leg in and we'll come into half moon. You can always have a block underneath your hand to see if you can let your gaze go to the side wall. Inner edge of that left foot is parallel with the floor. Maybe reach your left arm high. And then soften into that right knee. We'll step back into warrior 2. And just reach there. Inhale to reverse your warrior. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down into a plank. And then step back into plank. Bring your right forearm to the floor, left forearm to the floor. Right hand, left hand. Left forearm, right forearm, left hand, right hand. And then bring both your forearms to the floor. Lift your hips in your dolphin. And just pause here. If you want movement, you can do any of those movements we've already done. And then bring your knees down. Collect yourself into a child's pose. And then slide forward onto your belly. Fingers wide, outside the widest part of your chest. And just find that pulsing cobra here. Let's just do 3. And then we'll push ourselves back into child's pose. Inhale yourself into your standing kneel, reach high. And then reach back with that right arm. Maybe you pause. Just swim back and forth in your cobra here. Just feel support from the front side of your body. Feel some strength in the back of your body. And then come all the way upright. Release your hands, step your left foot forward. Let yourself come into your lunge. Right arm up, find your side bend. And then come on up, plant that right hand and open your left arm up into a big twist. Exhale, thread those fingers underneath. Inhale to open. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale and open. Exhale, left hand to the floor inside that left foot. You can tuck those right toes, lift your knee, and we'll come into side angle pose from here. So you can keep your left hand on the floor, or bring your forearm to your knee. Right arm alongside your ear. And you can find some resistance of your right arm and your left knee into each other. And then come all the way into your warrior two. And bring your right hand to your hip and make your way into your balance. So lean forward, bring those left fingertips to the floor, kitty corner from that left pinky toe. Slide that right leg in. And you can stay kind of soft through that left knee. Maybe reach right arm up. Inner edge of that right foot's parallel with the floor. And then soften into that left knee. Step back into your warrior two. Inhale to reverse. Exhale. Hands down, step back to plank. Left forearm to the floor. Right forearm to the floor. Left hand, right hand. Right forearm, left forearm. Right hand, left hand. Left forearm, right forearm. You can just come down onto your belly and rest in a sphinx. Or you can play with your dolphin again. Tiptoe your toes in. And just feel that relationship of your arms with the floor. Feel your hands and spread them, and then feel like you're kind of dragging your fingers towards your elbows. Let yourself feel support through your front body and opening through your shoulders. And make your way down to child's pose. And pause. Inhale yourself onto your belly. I'm going to start in that sphinx. And just bend your right knee and reach back with your right hand for that right foot. And you can energetically kind of push your foot into your hand. Maybe even find half of a bow pose here. Turn those right ribs forward as you resist hand into foot. Engage through that glute. And then release. Switch sides. Bend into your left knee. You can reach back with your left hand. And you can just let this be a quad stretch. You're going to find a little energy in your back bend, pushing your foot into your hand, pulling your hand into your foot. And then release. Come down all the way, forehead to the floor, hands alongside your hips. Just do a locust pose here, pushing into your pubic bone, looping your shoulders up off the floor, lift head and chest, lift both legs, reach your arms back, or you can bend both knees, reach back for your feet. Push feet into your hands for Dhanurasana. Rock a little. And then release down. Hands alongside your hip, your chest. Push yourself through a table all the way back into your child's pose. And come to your standing kneel here. You can just do a cactus. If that feels good. You can play with swimming your arms, or you could hold a camel pose for a few breaths. Just really listen to what would feel good in your body. Maybe hands on your sacrum. And let yourself really find some support through your front body. Heels tucked. We'll bring your heels closer. Or untucked. Let your head come up, blast wherever you are. Come on up. And just step forward with that right foot. Reach your arms high. And then just bring your hands down inside that right foot. And just find some opening through your hips. You can swivel your hips from side to side. We'll stay here for a couple of breaths, so it might even feel good to bring forearms to the floor if that feels available to you. Just one more breath here. And then come back up on your hands. We'll set up for that side angle pose again. So tuck through your left toes, forearm to thigh, or keep your right fingertips down inside that right foot. Open your heart out to the left and then reach that left arm alongside your ear. Come all the way to your warrior two. And then make your way into your half moon. You can hover that right hand up off the floor and just enjoy that balance challenge there. You could play with bending your left knee, maybe reaching back for your foot here. And then find your half moon, make your way to your warrior two. Inhale to reverse your warrior. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale to plank. Just exhale to your child's pose. Slide forward onto your belly and set up for another back bend. So we can start in Shalabhasana, locust pose, hands by your hips, loop your shoulders up and back, lift both legs, maybe interlace your fingers here, or bend both knees, and find your bow, Dhanurasana. Draw your big toes toward each other. Rock on your belly with your breath. Release. Hands under your shoulders. Push yourself back toward child's pose. And inhale to reach high. And exhale, just bring hands to your back pockets. Draw your elbows in. Reach your heart up. You can pause here. You could just play with dynamic movement again. Just swimming your arms and find a camel pose, Ustrasana. Hands on your heels. Really listen to your energy level, what feels available and spacious, right? Supportive and exciting, right? Like it's pretty exhilarating to open your heart. Head will come up last. Come up to your standing kneel. Left foot forward into your lunge. Inhale, reach high. And then just bring your hands down inside that left foot. Any opening movement in your hips that would feel good, take that. You can rock, do some circles, and bring your forearms to the floor. Stay connected to your breath. Right, and we're just gradually building. Bring your hands back to the floor. Set up for your side angle pose. So left fingertips to the floor, left forearm on your left thigh. Tuck those right toes, ground that heel, right arm alongside your ear. And then come up to your warrior two. Right hand to your hip. Make your way into your half moon. Maybe you just play with the strength of floating your left fingertips up off the floor. Reach your right arm high. Maybe play with bending that right knee, kicking foot into hand. And then we'll just float back to our warrior two. Inhale to reverse. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale to plank. And then exhale, maybe child's pose, maybe downward facing dog. And kind of feel the back of your pelvis, your lower back. After back bends, I like to kind of pigeon toe my feet in downward facing dog. So heels out, toes in. And kind of soften through your knees. Push back through your hips. And then just bring your knees to the floor and sit back on your heels. Shift your weight over to your right. And you can see I just have like my right toes are in the arch of my left foot. It doesn't really matter. We're just gonna find an easy twist. So twist to your right. Left hand outside that right knee. You can pause and enjoy it here. And then unwind. Shift your hips over to the left, right hand outside your left knee. And just let your neck go where it wants to. You don't need to force anything. Just releasing through your low back. And then come back to center. Just find yourself seated with your knees bent, feet in front of you. And then rest yourself on some strong arms and hands behind you. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then you can just kind of decide what feels good in your hip. So you want to find some space, but you don't want to compromise your spine, right? So deep sensation will feel good. Maybe even some rocking. So nature really teaches us this principle of death and rebirth, of things falling apart and being completely dismantled before there's growth. It happens with the seasons every year. And it happens through the cycles of history also. You know, what we are going through is totally new for us in our generation, but it's a pattern that's happened for eons. And humans can do it, and we always come out stronger, right, when we go through a dismantling. And just like that Salt Lake Temple, let's go ahead and switch sides. Just uncross that leg. Adjust your hands if you need to. Cross your your left ankle over that right knee. Lengthen your spine. And it may take a couple of breaths. Rocking feels good to me here. So just find movement that feels like it supports what your body needs here. Right, we're moving so we can really feel and experience. And part of what we do with the stress and the exploration and going through the unknown of a yoga practice, right? We don't always know what's going to come next. I do because I'm the teacher, right? But it's that same dismantling and rebuilding and renewal. It's so beautiful to just participate in the fabric and the pattern of this miraculous world. right. Let's uncross your leg. Hold on to the backs of your thighs. Actually, let's find one seated forward fold. So let's let either feet together, knees wide, or legs wide. You decide what your body is craving here. And just find kind of a wave in your spine for the first few breaths. Leading your heart forward and just coming back up. And then you can find a place to pause and stay. Just really letting yourself settle into your breath. Make your way out of this and into your final rest. So if you would like just to end with a seated meditation, you could find something to sit on, find your support, and just end seated. It can be an energizing way to start your day, or you can make your way onto your back in Savasana. It's always nice to have a rolled blanket or yoga blocks under your knees just to support your lower back, especially after all that back bending we did today. But wherever you are, bring awareness to your whole body. See if you can feel awareness of your feet, your ankles, your lower legs, your knees, your thighs, and all those big muscles, your hips, your pelvis, all the organs in your belly, your lungs, your heart, your arms and your hands as extensions of your heart, your shoulders and your neck, and your face, and your brain, and your skull. And just feel the aliveness everywhere. It's that dismantling that brings more awareness to all the different parts. So we can see how they're made and maybe rebuild them in more skillful, supportive ways. Let yourself be a participant in that pattern. And feel free to stay here as long as you like. As you build this new week, I hope you carry all of this beautiful energy you've stirred through your body into that creation. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste. Thank you.